Hello friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. Today I'm going to be giving you 5 books that I think are underhyped, 5 books I think are appropriately hyped, and 5 books that are overhyped. Let's get into it. Okay, today I'm just going to be doing fantasy books, and I'm going to do another video where I do the same thing with romance books. So, also, disclaimer, in case you weren't aware, this is my opinion. And that's okay. You probably have a different opinion. Good for you. You can have your own opinion. That's how this works. But don't come at me for having a different opinion, because I really don't care. Anyway, first we're gonna do 5 overhyped books. I know. The first overhyped fantasy book is Savage Lands. I hated this book. I feel like depending on like what section of Book Talk, Bookstagram, Booktube you're on, this book could go either way. If you really loved it, you probably think it's underhyped, but for me, I hated it and I think it's overhyped because I had so many people tell me that this got them out of their like ACOTAR Throne of Glass slump and that, you know, the MMC is like recent and all these things, and no. It was not. I couldn't stand this. I hated it. It just was not for me in any way. There was no plot. I felt like it just dragged on. Things were happening that didn't make sense. Like, it just all around was not for me. The next overhyped fantasy book is Kiss of the Basilisk. I just finished this recently, and let me tell you, all I've heard is 5-star reviews. I was told that it had a lot of smut, but I was told that it didn't matter because it was that good. No. This was like 95% smut, like 5% plot, which is a lot. Like, she's literally out here boning everybody and their mom and their dad, like just everyone. And I think it really, for me, it was really frustrating because like the actual like plot that was there was really good and could have been like phenomenal. It had a lot of potential. It just wasn't developed well enough for me, and it felt really like a backbone to all of the sex, and therefore like I just didn't jive with it. I didn't enjoy it, and Tim is a very annoying FMC to me, and if I don't like the FMC, like I usually hate the book. So yeah, I just really struggled all around. Nope. The next overhyped book is On Wings of Blood. Listen, this is like Book Talk's new darling. I get it. Everyone and their mom loves this book. No. Again, like I hated the FMC. I also didn't really like the MMC. The plot was fully lacking for me, and like a bunch of stuff would happen, but then they would have like no point, like no meaning, like it didn't matter. And so when that's like a device in the fantasy book, it completely draws me out because like I don't want to read stuff that has no purpose. And so, like, that's why this just did not work for me. The next fantasy book I think is overhyped is Powerless. I know. Everyone loves this book. I get it. I liked it. I gave the first book 3.5 stars. Like, it was an okay book. But I just didn't feel like it was, like, anything, like that special. I really wasn't fully sucked in. I liked Kai as a character, and Peyton was okay, but I wasn't like 100% into it. And then I feel like the series went downhill from me. Like, it just got worse. It didn't get better. So like overall, this was just meh. And like people talk about it like it's the next coming romantic fantasy book, and it's just not for me. And the final overhyped book, in my opinion, is From Blood and Ash. This series is a whole lot. I've read every single book so far. I actually like the prequel series a lot more, at least the first 2 books in the prequel series, but I just feel like this book has so much inner monologue of Poppy, and I actually don't mind Poppy as the main character, but I just got so tired of listening to her same thoughts over and over. It'd be like 50-page like break of her just in her head talking to herself over and over and over again and nothing happening. And like overall, the plot, I feel like at this point has gotten so far away and so much has happened that like doesn't feel like it fits to me, that it just is not for me. I don't feel like the writing is as good as other fantasy books that I read, so like overall this series is just not for me. Now we're going to do appropriately hyped fantasy books. So I am not putting Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, or Crescent City into this video because obviously everyone knows how much I love them. I obviously think they deserve all the hype. I think they deserve more hype. Like, you can never have enough hype for these books. They're my all-time favorite, my Roman Empire, God tier, whatever you want to say, like, they're it. So they're not going into my, like, 5 book recommendations. Anyway, number 1 is The Cruel Prince. I get it. This book either has, like, tons and tons of love or tons and tons of hate. I think part of the problem why it gets so much hate is because it's not always marketed the best, especially on Book Talk. Like Book Talk people are like, enemies to lovers, blah, 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 blah. And it is. It's one of the truest depictions of enemies to lovers I've ever read in a fantasy book, but as a subplot. It's not the main plot. The main plot is scheming and political intrigue and all of these like wartime moments. It's not a romance. Like the last two books have romantic moments, especially the last book, but it is way more plot heavy than that. And so I feel like that's where the disconnect gets. But I love political intrigue. I love a good scheme. I love an underdog heroine. And Jude Duarte is one of my favorite FMCs of all time. I think she is just so different from who we usually see in fantasy books, and I absolutely ate it up. I love Carden. I love the whole thing. Like 10 out of 10 stars for me. So good. The next appropriately hyped fantasy book is a little bit of a cheat because it's like fantasy dystopian. I feel like it started out being marketed as dystopian, but especially like with all the like superpowers and things that come in, like obviously that's fantasy to me, so I'm gonna count it as fantasy book. It is Shatter Me, the entire series. I love the series with my whole heart. I love Aaron Warner with every fiber of my being. I love Juliet with every fiber of my being. I love Kenji with every fiber of my being. Everything in this series worked for me. I know a lot of people get really turned off in the first book with like the way that it's written, but I would say if that's the case, like you should keep reading because it obviously gets like so much better. But I personally didn't like the first book. Didn't bother me. I thought it was really like unique and a fun way to write Juliet's mindset within the pages of the book. It was really like immersive in my opinion. I seriously love this whole series. I've started the spin-off series. I love that. Everything about it works for me. It's perfectly hyped in my opinion. The next appropriately hyped book is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry, and I know this one just came out this year, but it's that good. I think it's one of my top romantasy books of all time now, which like I'm a Devney Perry girly. Her writing style just speaks to me, and I've loved all of her like romance books, and so I was a little hesitant when she wrote this. However, like she totally knocked it out of the park. You would think she'd been writing romance her whole life. Her world building and like imaginative pace through this book was just absolutely hands down amazing. I loved every second of it. It is so good. If you've been hearing the hype, you need to read it. It deserves all the hype. The next appropriately hyped book is Direbound by Sable Sorensen, and this is also a really newer one, but all I'm saying on Book Talk is people loving it and it deserves it. I binged this in like 2 days. I gave it all the stars. I loved it. It was really like a Fourth Wing, but with like direwolves from like Game of Thrones and Hunger Games all meshed into one. I seriously loved every second of it. It had me fully sat. There were so many plots and twists and turns, and even though like ones that I saw coming that were like predictable, I didn't care because they were executed so well and I loved how they were written in the moment. Literally amazing. And the final appropriately hyped book is Spark of the Everflame. I love this series. Listen, DM drives me crazy. She's one of the most frustrating FMCs in an entire romantasy world for me. However, I still love her. Like, girls out here making stupid decision after stupid decision, but I don't care. Like, I will protect her till the end. I love her. And Luther, like, for me to fall in love with a man named Luther, you know how good the book has to be. I cannot wait for the next book in this series to come out. Every book has been phenomenal. It has everything you want. Spice, plot, world building, unique magic systems. It's a 10 out of 10. And now for the Underhyped books. The first Underhyped book is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. I love this. It's very atmospheric and immersive, and the plot and magic system is so unique. I had such a fun time reading it. It felt so different and fresh from other like romantasy books that are out in the genre right now, and I love the way that Rachel Gillick writes imagery and just fully pulls you into the story. It is so good. The duology, both of them were 5 stars for me. I loved every single second. Like, not enough people are reading these books. The next underhyped book, in my opinion, is The Bridge Kingdom, which I feel like recently it's gotten a little more like traction since it's been trad published, but still not enough. Like, this is one of my all-time favorite romantasy series ever. Every single book has been 4 or 5 stars for me. I love it. They all follow different characters and siblings, and they're all interconnected, and just the way that Daniel L. Jensen has written this story, so good. Also, I will say, if you read A Fate Inked in Blood and you didn't like it, you should still read the series, because A Fate Inked in Blood I read after Bridge Kingdom and it felt like a totally different book to me. It wasn't my favorite, but The Bridge Kingdom remains like all-time favorite series for me, so this one needs more hype. The next book that deserves more hype is This Woven Kingdom. I absolutely am devouring this series. The first book, I will admit, is a little slow because there's so much world building and so much magic building going on, and you really need to like get in depth with these characters. It's also a very character heavy fantasy series, and there's a lot of different moving pieces, and the way that it's written is really allowing you time to like fully sit in these characters and their experiences and learn them, so that later on you'll understand like the choices they make, the decisions that are happening, and all these different things. I loved it. The first book I gave 3.5 stars, the next book was 4, the third book was 5, and I cannot wait for the fourth book. The way that this series is written is just so lyrical and poetic and just like beautiful in my opinion. I loved every second of it. Like, more people need to read this. The next underhyped fantasy book is The Prison Healer. Honestly, I picked this book up because I saw that SJM had wrote the quote on the front of it, and so I was like, hey, let me give it a try. Every single book was 4 or 5 stars. The plot twist in this first book absolutely got me. I did not see it coming at all. My jaw was on the floor. I couldn't wait to read more. I think this book has the best cliffhangers in a YA fantasy book that I've ever read personally. I love the magic system. I love the world building. I love these characters. Like, it needs to be protected at all costs. Everything about this book worked for me. So good. And the final underhyped book is Defy the Night by Bridget Kimmerer. I think that's how you say her last name, but it doesn't matter how you say her last name because this book is 5 stars. Every single book in this trilogy was 5 stars. I ate this up. It is so good. Like, the entire second book takes place on a boat, and like, I did not feel bored at all. Like, the way Bridget Kimmerer writes just is so investing and like pulls you in fully. I like was reading and I looked down and I read 200 pages and I didn't even realize it. Like, I love this story. I love these characters. It's kind of like Robin Hood-esque too. Like, I'm here for it. It was so good. If you love YA fantasy, if you love like good versus evil, which is obviously like an all-time fantasy trope, but in here it's played really well. Robin Hood-esque, like fighting the oppressors, like everything about it. Like, this is it. And those are 5 fantasy books that I think are overhyped, underhyped, and appropriately hyped. Let me know what you think. If you have read any of these books, what books you would add to each of the categories. Like, let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon.